Well, good day, good day, good day. I'm hoping everyone out there can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Pop a thumbs up in the comment section so I know that you are able to pick up what I'm saying today. I want to welcome everyone to another quick um, comment and discussion about some of the current events over the past week and some of the things that are always Harry and Meghan related. So we'll just talk about some of the different things that are showing up in the news cycle this time. Now, I am going to try to freestyle a little bit with the advent of my photos and things like that if I can get them to come up. But if not, then you can just enjoy watching the coffee being made and pay very close attention to how it's being made. And if you want to, you can make coffee like that yourselves. And then you can enjoy some of coffee while we're sitting and talking or chatting. And or if you're not sitting and having coffee or relaxing, then in that case, you might want to have a walk or exercise while you're listening to this little bitty podcast of sorts, right? So let's see how we do with the pictures that we have. So I'm going to ask you guys to hang on for a minute and just enjoy watching the coffee being made there for a moment. Okay, of course, I'm going to start with this photo. So Meg was seen having a great time um, for her birthday outing. And that was last week or the week before. And so, of course, the news cycle made a lot about that. Um, they had to feature where she was and what she looked like, who she was with. Of course, that was important to them. But she looked great. And that dress is very popular now. And so, all of you fashionistas, I think that dress was somewhere around $249. So, everyone, of course, jumped out and ran as soon as they could to buy it. And that was big news in the world of Meghan Markle, of course. And then what's coming up currently, let's see if I can get a photo of that, which is coming up really. All right. So, also, what's coming up in the news these days is the fact that Harry and his pal Nacho have made their journey to Tokyo and then on to Singapore, where they will be spending their time getting ready for the polo match with Sentabali. So the Sentabali polo match is the one for raising funds, and it's part of the charity work that they're going to be doing. And what they do is generally participate in a couple of team sports, and they have a lot of sponsors from all around the world. and they raise usually a pretty good amount of money or a chunk of change in support of the founded organization called Sentabali. And Sentabali is an organization that focuses on young children that have HIV. And this organization was founded by Prince Harry and Prince, I believe his name is pronounced Seso or Ciso, out of Lesotho. And it has been a very nicely funded and growing institution where they do assist children who may have lost their parents and things like that. It's been pretty phenomenal. Of course, the naysayers are going to try to dig into it and they're going to look for something to be wrong with it. So at the moment, it's doing very good work and people are very interested in it. But what highlights this move today, and in this photo, you see Prince Harry and his buddy in this project, Nacho, is how he's referred to. He was a model at one point, too. He did a lot of modeling, but he also does a lot of fundraising. But the two of them traveled to Tokyo, had a very warm welcome coming into Japan, and now they were just out and about shopping in Japan, and they have been having what we call a bro holiday. So they have been having a fabulous time. And I hope some of you had a chance to look at or find some of these photos because it has been hysterical to watch them. Now, there are video out there on various sites. Little videos are trickling out showing them as they have gone on to Singapore. And they're going to prepare for the actual polo extravaganza. So that'll be interesting. And I tell you what was a concern to me, of course, is polo can be a very dangerous sport. And I'm like, please, I don't want anyone to get hurt out there. But it's a sport that, what they call it, the sports of kings, but it can be grueling. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick moment here also. As you can see, I'm going through this, but I want each of you, if you get a chance, please um, get the likes up for me. Make sure they match how many people we have here. And subscribe if you haven't. That way you will get notifications of anytime that I pull up a live feed, or if I start talking about something online, then you'll get the notification that, hey, she's out there and she's getting ready to, have some kind of a conversation about something. So we want you to be able to participate in that. But anyway, this photo here has spawned media frenzy, of course, because there is now a discussion all over the media spaces originating in the UK as usual. All of the, oh, why does he look so much happier now? And he looks so much happier because he's not with Meghan. So the UK is going to continue to try to feed the world that the woman is the monster. The UK is the origin of all things devices. All things divisive. The UK is the origin of all manner of cruelty because that is the one thing they can export worldwide. Their empire is known for nothing but cruelty and exploitation. And the basis of that is destroy the woman. So they are going to stay on task. And in that arena, I want everyone to really pay close attention to all of the media spread, because every article, every discussion is going to somehow bend its way back to this sentence: Meghan is the problem. Meghan caused all the problems. It's all Meghan. Okay, somehow that is always going to be the way they're going to feed you this story. All right. So let's see if I can cycle through a couple of other different photos that I had here. Now, there is I'm going to see if I can find this young lady's photo. I love this picture that I have. Let me see if I can find this lady's photo. There is a young lady who was featured in the, okay, as you can see, I'm adjusting these things as I am on screen. So let's see if you can see what I'm putting here. All right, so if you can see who I'm putting here, I'm going to try to get this adjusted so that you can take a look at her picture. But this young lady was also on the carpet with Prince Harry as they were moving into Singapore for the rest of the Sentabali tour. Her name is Dr. Sophie. Let's see if I can say this correctly. Dr. Sophie Shanduka or Shandauka. And she is also very integral to the operation of Sentabali. She is, I believe, the CEO they have listed there. And she did a wonderful group meet and greet as they were coming in. And then they were discussing all the things they were going to be doing with the program as they are supporting the polo match. So I hope many of you get an opportunity to maybe read a little bit about her and what she does. She works very closely with many of the children in that program. And so she has a very interesting story to tell about her work throughout Africa in support of children who maybe have HIV or their families were affected by HIV. And so it is really a worthwhile organization to support. And it's wonderful to watch them and the work that they do. So we would like to see them do more of that. At least I would, for sure. So now let's get to the talk of the usual nonsense. Let's back up to the usual nonsense. Now, don't you guys laugh at me too much, all right? Because we're gonna take it back, but I promise you I will not keep you long. Now we're gonna mention, now that we've talked about all the wonderful things and all the great things that have been going on, and we need to give some wonderful shout outs to all the people who are doing hard work with Sentabali. We also now need to discuss people who we are less interested in. So I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to back up a little bit here, and we're going to feature who hasn't been talking that much lately. Okay? As I try to pull up this photo I have of Piers Morgan. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see it. Let's see if I can get him on the screen. But if you can't see Piers Morgan, I just want you to know that Piers is back on the scene, and he is quiet in some of his derision lately. He speaks about Harry in a very passive way. And I noticed that the titles in his features this week and last week, he hasn't had that blazing title that usually begins with Meghan is a monster or Prince Harry failed to this or failed to that. He's been talking about Prince Harry, but kind of in a passive way. You know, the question that begins with the don't you think kind of theory. So, I'm one of these folks that I really like to look at how the media is functioning. And there are other squatties that do a fabulous job of picking through media antics. I'm kind of an observer, and I see these things and I like to point them out. And I hope that other people see them like I do. In other words, you notice that most of what they do is such a tool of manipulation. However, after these rising scandals and rising discussions and rising lawsuits, he has toned down a little bit of his approach. And then I believe the final thing that put him in a cautionary place I is the death of a very popular singer in the 90s, Sinead O'Connor. Now, for those of you who were following some of the back and forth, Sinead O'Connor was a fantastic singer. She was originally from Ireland, so she was always very somewhat alternative. And if you're familiar with one of her songs that's most popular is called Nothing Compares. It was actually written by Prince, but the song is a really beautiful song. Well, at some point in the past, Sinead O'Connor and Piers Morgan had had a similar run in, similar to the effect of how he excoriates all other singers like Adele and, different performers critiquing what they think or critiquing the fact that they are proud of their bodies or any particular issue he can cling on to and make a big and have an outrage about it. And so Sinead O'Connor is one of those singers. She passed away. But earlier, she had written a note to him, a commentary to him, and she had really run him up the flagpole about how he talked about Meghan Markle. She was very sarcastic and she was very specific in her put down of Piers Morgan. Now that she has died, I've noticed that he has become a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, but let's just say he is not turned, his volume is not turned all the way up on 10 like it usually is. He has somewhat massaged his method and his approach. Now, that being said, there could be a number of things happening behind the scenes that may be causing him to think a little carefully about how he is behaving. Now, part of that might be the testimony or the letters that are going out from this gentleman here. This man's last name is Truby, and he is the one that has set in motion all of the fire that is getting ready to come down on our favorite host, Dan the Man Wu. Okay, so I think Pierce might be reading the tea leaves of how things are playing out for the likes of folks like Dan, and he may be tiptoeing a little bit more as he speaks about Harry and Meghan. Now, by no means has he stopped his torrential flood of pain and anxiety upon her. He hasn't quit, but it has slowed. Now, in the case of Dan, on his shows are still featuring some commentary about every move that Harry and Meghan make, every single move. And recently, someone decided to make a change to the royal website. And by doing so on the royal website, they have removed the HRH indicator from Prince Harry's name. Now, in essence, this was done when they originally stepped away from their royal duties. But now they're just getting to, I guess, getting to the point where they're making changes in the paperwork, updating the websites, and things like that. So, of course, for Dan and the rest of the cruel corner of the UK, this is a moment of celebration. Let's celebrate that his title has been changed or his title has been removed. They now want to make a big public um, dedication to this fact. They want the world to know that HRH has been removed because in their gleeful reporting, they want that to mean for the rest of the world, do not talk to them, do not interact with them. They want to notify the world that you shouldn't do business with Harry and Meghan. We want them to be struggling. We want them to be poor. We don't want them to have anything that they can do, and we don't want them to have friends. That is the only purpose that people on these news sites have. This is the only thing they want to see as a result of removing the HRH indicator from their titles. They're gleeful, hoping that they can celebrate this with the world. The only thing is, the only problem that they are having is that the rest of the world did not really care. The feeling, in other words, the interaction that Prince Harry has with his endeavors and the interactions that Meghan is going to have with her endeavors. Yes, there may be people who decide, oh, I better pull back and pull away. But I believe what most people are going to become aware of is that the UK media and the royal family are actually the negative environment. Most people are going to start seeing this, that Harry and Meghan are going to be on their way up, and the UK royals and the UK media, they're the ones who are on their way down. So you can hitch your wagon or hitch a ride with those who are going up in the upwards in life, or you can glom on to the UK media and the royal family as they are traveling in a downhill in a downhill manner. But it's going to take a while before the masses catch on to what is happening. And let's be honest, those of us who are very much attentive to what is happening in and around the squad or Harry and Meghan, we see these trends as they touch other things, right? So let's step out of Harry and Meghan, their world, and just look at the UK operation in general, just like the USA and its political situation, its political environment. Well, if I keep people talking about things like how much we dislike Harry and Meghan, well, guess what I can do instead? I can instead get you focused on the fact that, oh, the migrants are causing your problems. That's their new, that is their new dance in the UK. So nurses are quitting, doctors are on strike, and the problem is the migrants. But that's what the UK is trying to tell people, or at least in their political structure, that is what the political structure is trying to tell them. Is that the truth? No, of course it's not. But they want people to believe and constantly focus on other things, while at the same time they are manipulating and duping people in the back area, right? And that is the way that the UK media operates. They just keep you focused on something else. But what's happening is It is not working. Right now, I would say they are slowly dipping underwater. Their ratings are going down. People are watching their news stories, but they're turned off by it. They're beginning to actually get negative comments, whereas before they were able to keep I'm going to say, the bots producing positive comments or supporting their positions. But lately, when you scroll through some of their sites, you are beginning to see real people make negative comments about what they are putting out as their truths, because people are beginning to realize that it is not true. So we just have to stay in that space, and as a collective we have to pay attention to how these things are done and to spread the word as much as we can. And me, I'm small. I'm a small operator, but I'm going to continue to tell the story as I see it, to spread the word that these folks are not interested in your well being. They are only interested in themselves. They are self serving, and they are just simply trying to trick you into being angry about the things they are angry about. And does that make any sense? I mean, just think about it. When you were in elementary school, what does it mean when there's a kid trying to make you be angry about the same things you're angry about? That's someone trying to control you. And it's no different then than it was when you were in elementary school. It is the exact same. So you have to be very mindful and pay very close attention to these things. And we need to spread the word that that is actually what the UK media is all about. Okay? Because indeed, that's what it is. All right. So we had the good news, folks, about all the things that are happening with Harry and Nacho and their travels to Tokyo. And I want you all to celebrate that. Yes, go yay, yay. And then we will pay attention very closely to how those sports matches go about in um, Singapore as they start to work through there. And I got to tell you, their movements throughout have been astounding. They have been just dancing all over, um, dancing all over Tokyo, Nacho and Harry, and they are really acting like two teenagers out on the loose. Now, they had a picture. This is not that photo, but they had a quick photo of him when he did a group hug with a choir from South Africa. And again, Harry has that kind of interaction, just like he does in this photo here. The interaction between Harry and a crowd, or Harry and a team of people, it's just positive. People enjoy being around him. They enjoy him talking to them, and they just feel very warm to him. And this is not something that can be created, and it cannot be faked. And again, this is where the royal family makes their mistake. They make their error. They believe that if they just tell the world that, oh, he's a crybaby or he's being mean to us, they somehow think that the rest of the world truly believes that. When the rest of the world can see and interact with him, and they know this guy has been a very genuine guy, and you all have mistreated him his entire life. You underestimated him, you've derided him, you used him, and then you tried to make him go out there and work for you, do your work, while you instead play in costume. And that is how they have been operating. And so Harry, in his current stride now, he is moving through, hitting his stride, and he is doing a phenomenal job. But like I said, guys, I wasn't going to keep you here forever. I promise. I promise you I wasn't going to do that. Now, Meghan, on the other hand, where the news has come in. Okay, again, media watch time. So now the news is going to try to tell you he's happier because he's not with her. However, Meghan, after her birthday celebration, while Harry is out gallivanting all over the world with his bro, Meghan instead chose to go to a Taylor Swift concert, as reported. Now, what we don't have are any featured film clips or pictures of that. We've only got people talking about it. There was a report from someone there that they, I guess, spotted Meghan in the crowd, and she was gleefully singing along with the Taylor Swift song. And so that was reported, but there haven't been any like cameo shots or film footage of that. And so people are talking about that, but they've got to wait a minute or two to see what this might mean, because there are some people who have had in recent months had a little bit of a negative vibe with all things Taylor Swift, but that actually involves her husband or boyfriend. It doesn't actually involve Taylor Swift herself. And so, again, media, as the same with the media, would be the same with Taylor Swift. They have a tendency, especially the typical media driven machine, that anything that is associated, any negative thing that's associated with a man and his activities and what he does and what a man decides, somehow it gets placed upon the wife or the girlfriend or blamed on the wife or the girlfriend. I heard in reference to that, I heard I guess it was a TikToker going into this storyline, like Meghan Markle and Jada Pickett have caused whatever the problems are with their spouses. Now, let's say that these women are high-end manipulators like that. Let's say they are creatures who are performing psychological warfare on their husbands. There's still a point where you are either an idiot or a victim to make the decisions that you make. You have to, there is a point where if you are a man, you have to still be a man. You cannot always turn around to the woman and blame the woman for your problems. At least that's how most of us grow up. That's what we think. But lately, I don't know if it's a movement. I don't know if, and for me, it looks Taliban-esque. But I don't know if there's a movement or some sort of feature that is now in the media, both UK and US. It's like a movement of this thing that is happening where anything that men do these days, no matter what it is, we are now looking for some woman, wife, girlfriend, mom, sister, somewhere to blame for what the men are doing. That is now becoming a thing. I don't understand where it's coming from. I don't even know why it's happening, but I want us to pay attention to it in the media and pay attention to it because we need to understand that it is happening, and we need to be the voices of those who question it, right? So we need to pay attention to it. When we see it, we need to call it out and ask, why is it that whenever a man does something or whenever he is guilty of something, whenever there's a problem with him, it's blamed on the woman? Now, I'm noticing, and I'm waiting for this to happen, and I don't know if you all are interested in the US politics, but I was waiting for someone to say Melania Trump is the reason why Trump has done all the things he did. I'm waiting for that. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm waiting for that to come down. But it's always something to be blamed on the nearest woman. So that being said, Meghan is out hanging out with Taylor Swift at a Taylor Swift concert. and having a great time when she's not at home with the kids, while Harry is out gallivanting around the planet. So that's another thing that we have to remind ourselves of. And also, lastly, and I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna keep you all forever. And oh, by the way, remind me again, you guys have to post if you're out doing your walks, if you're out doing any type of exercise that's keeping you fit, whether it's stretching or yoga, if you're making headway, let me know, because I'm going to, of course, report to you that over this week I had the opportunity to walk my 2 miles a day. So I am going to admit that I did walk 2 miles a day. So I want to hear from all of you how you did on your fitness journey, if you have one. I was going to type, I'm sorry, I was going to text that in there. Um, but I had to put in three miles instead, but I did not do 3 miles. I actually only did 2 miles. So I'm trying to drop a couple pounds here and there. So I'm going to have to step up my game as well. I got to do more because I need to get myself fit. So we are going to have to keep doing that. So don't forget again to like and subscribe. I need all the likes and subscribes I can get, and I'm going to try to do a little bit more work to continue to build my channel. So quickly, I am going to take a short look at some of the comments that I might see here. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay. So let's look. Hello. Oh, hi, Marjorie. It's so good to see that you have logged on, and I'm loving your comments. In your last comment, you were saying that Harry knew all along what he wanted, and hence Meghan does not need to tell him. I totally agree. I totally agree. He, this is exactly correct. He was all of his life looking for a spouse and a partner that could complement him and basically enjoyed the things he enjoys and loves the things that he loves. And so you are correct. It's brilliant. He knew what he wanted, and he saw that in Meghan. And you, you are spot on when you talk about the folks who are anti Harry and Meghan. It drives them nuts because they have a process in the royal family, and it really is a process of pretending and acting, and a process of representing something. But when you get right down to the nuts and bolts, they don't actually do anything. They don't really do the work. They are at that level that they want to basically express their wishes and their wants. And as they express them, other people get busy and start doing the work. And that is really how the royal family operates. So, for example, and this is why you're seeing, okay, last media observation. And then if I find more, if I find specifics, or if I can find like specific articles, and I can make copies and I'll put them up on my community page, along with some of the outreach programs that both Harry and Meghan work with. I want you to notice and look at how, from the royal family, this is probably how the UK media obtains its point of view, right? So that is why throughout the UK media, and then you have to remember, even though there are all these separate tabloids and separate entities, when you dig back through them, they are all basically run and owned by the same conglomerate. And it's generally Rupert Murdoch affiliated, who is an extreme conservative, who is an extreme right-wing mentality, and who is an extreme Tory supporter. And then this is the very important fact: who is not a citizen of either the United States, and he is not from the UK. So basically, a foreign body is providing and creating all of the actual viewpoints that we are supposed to have. There is a foreigner telling the world, printing all of our magazines, printing all of our newspapers, telling us what to think. I find that offensive, but I'm not going to get into that right now. We'll do that on another live. But that is my point of view. This man and his family, they are foreigners. So, with that being said, what you notice is that they are spreading out in the media various viewpoints. And what they're looking for is to find out which one sticks or which one they need to attack the most. So you'll see a line dropped, Harry and Meghan are going to break up. Then you'll see a line dropped, no, they're just going to do separate job tasks. Then you'll see a line dropped, Meghan no longer wants to be associated with Harry. Then you'll flip over here on the UK side and you'll see a tidbit about Harry is trying to make up with the family. Now, from what we read and see, it doesn't look like it to me, but okay. Then you'll see a tidbit drop. Charles is standing up and being strong, removing Harry's titles. Okay, so they drop that out there to find out, do people agree with this? Are they on the right path? And then they'll drop out a tidbit about some wonderful thing Prince William or Princess Kate, something that they are doing that's really fantastic. And they'll drop that out there to see if the public picks it up and is interested in it. And what they're finding, at least from what I can see, and I'm of course looking at social media, but what they are finding is, for the most part, people do not agree with treating Harry as if he is not a family member, right? And people do not have any interest whatsoever in what Princess Kate and Prince William are doing. That is what they're finding out. Now, okay, I'm going to take a breath now. Everybody relax. Whew, just let's go back to positive, okay? Are we okay? Now, we're going to now that we've had all of that, now that we did all that, let's go back to positive. So once again, folks, let's go back to the positive, right? Let's make sure that we end on an upbeat. And the reason I'm going to probably draw this to a conclusion is simply because where I am, ladies and gentlemen, it is storming like you would not believe. The lightning is picking up quite dangerously. And so I'm going to begin to wrap this up, but I wanted to say lastly, I hope I didn't forget anything, is that again, there's Nacho and Harry, and they're leaning in, picking up sunglasses. And this is while they were on their way traveling through Tokyo to Singapore. And they are looking cool. They're looking very dapper. And the folks of Japan were very hospitable. And I am hoping that this will send a signal. Now, and here's the cool thing. I'm focusing on Centabale. But ladies and gentlemen, you all are aware what's coming up next? Invictus Games. So right now, let's just stick with this. Let's get him through this. Let's see how this goes. And then we're going to see how things pan out for the Invictus Games. But if this is the type of work he is going to do, and these are the type of charities that he is going to support, he is having a worldwide impact. And his impact is probably greater now than it was when he was associated with the royal family that were doing nothing but trying to suppress and trying to contain his movement. And that is what they do. I do not know why. No one knows why. Because the royal family, as it currently operates, from our point of view, it doesn't make any sense. It is actually destroying itself by taking the most vibrant, key personnel that wanted to work hard and do things, and instead wanted to push them and squash them down in a box and only pull them out when they wanted to. That was the most foolish decision ever made. All right. So with that said, let's follow Harry and Nacho as they go through Centabella. We're going to watch the game, see how they're doing. And I want everyone to enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thank you all. Thank you for attending my broadcast. I appreciate it. As you can see, I'm still learning what to do. I'm still moving things around. And I'm trying to figure out how this works smoothly without being in a constant state of struggle. So please please subscribe. I enjoyed your comments, and thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much.